All right, welcome. So today we're going to talk about a program called Celebrate Recovery. Now, when you hear the word recovery, it probably makes you think of one specific thing, right? Well, as we're about to see, this program is for something way, way bigger than that. To really get what this is all about, let's just start with this, a really powerful quote from someone in the program. That feeling of being broken in ways I didn't even want to admit. That right there, that really hits the nail on the head. The whole journey starts by facing the stuff we'd much rather just keep buried. Okay, so what is Celebrate Recovery really? To answer that, first things first, we gotta clear up a pretty big misconception about who these kinds of programs are even for. So here's the deal. It's not just about drugs and alcohol. The entire program is built around this idea of hurts, habits, and hangups, which is this huge umbrella term that covers all kinds of personal struggles. And here's something that might surprise you. Who actually shows up? A lot of the people who walk through these doors are already Christians. They've got their faith, but they're looking for, real tools, a community that's got their back to help them deal with these deep issues that they just can't seem to shake on their own. Okay, that phrase, hurts, habits, and hangups. What does that actually mean? What does it look like in the real world? Let's break down exactly what kinds of challenges we're talking about here. Well, take a look at this. This isn't just some generic list. This comes straight from people in the program. We're talking about things like pride, anger, codependency, deep stuff like self-hatred and depression. I mean, this stuff goes way, way beyond what most people think of as addiction. There's this guy, David, who totally puts a voice to what a lot of people think. He was like, hey, I thought this was just for drugs or alcohol. He didn't think it was for him. But then he found out it was a place where he could finally talk about the family and personal stuff that was really weighing him down.
All right, so we get the what and the who. But what's it actually like? What's the vibe when you walk in the door? It all starts with how a typical weekly meeting is set up.
And you can see how the whole evening is really set up to build trust. It starts with everyone just sharing a meal, being together, then you move into a large group session, maybe a teaching or a testimony, and only after all that you break into these smaller groups, split up by men and women, which, just creates this much safer space for people to really open up. And really, at the core of all of this is learning to be vulnerable. It's about dropping that mask, the one that says, I've got it all together. It's about being honest about your struggles in a place where you're not going to be judged for it. So it's in that space, that structured vulnerability, that's where the real change starts to happen. And honestly, the best way to see it is to just listen to the stories from people who've been through it. Let's talk about Tracy. I mean, the difference between her before and after is just, wow, it's night and day. She went from being a self-described raging alcoholic to finding this whole new purpose, deciding to live for her faith every single day, not just for an hour a week. And listen to how honest she is here. This part is just incredible. She talks about this total disconnect, trying to look like a Christian on the outside while literally hiding many bottles of alcohol in her purse to drink during the church service. It's such a powerful picture of that internal war she was fighting. And then there's Clint. His journey, a very similar story. He talks about hitting rock bottom, feeling like he'd lost absolutely everything. But now, he sees his life totally differently, through this lens of service, where all that past pain can actually be used to help someone else. And you know what? This kind of real, visible change, it gets noticed. One of the local groups talked about in the source material started with just 4 people. In less than a year, it grew to almost 40. I mean, growing 10 times in under a year? That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because people are seeing that this thing is for real. Okay, this brings us to what I think is a really crucial part of the whole thing. It's not just about getting better and then you're done. The whole point is to take what you've learned and pay it forward. This is baked right into the program's DNA. It's the 12th and final step. Your own recovery is really complete when you make it your mission to carry that hope to other people who are still stuck. It's about turning your own win into a mission for everyone else. And Tracy, who we heard from earlier, shared this poem that just perfectly captures this idea. It's a metaphor for the entire journey. So the poem basically tells this story. You're stuck at the bottom of a deep, dark hole. You're down there, you're working your tail off, building this ladder out of whatever you can find, but you just can't quite reach the top. You've done everything you can. And that's when a rope comes down from above to pull you the rest of the way out.
And the second the person is pulled out of that hole, their mission is crystal clear. They get the message, feed my sheep. And without even a moment's hesitation, they get right back to work. But this time, helping the people still down in their own holes.
And that right there is the whole point. Getting better yourself isn't the finish line, it's the starting line for a new mission. Your past pain becomes the very thing that helps you heal others. Like Tracy says, it becomes your life's work, always reaching back for the next person.
So that leaves us with this big question, right? The success here seems so tied to the power of community, of people being honest together, supporting each other, and sharing a mission. It really makes you wonder, in any kind of big personal change, how much does doing it together really matter?